Have you ever stopped to think about how a simple invention can completely change an industry or even our daily lives?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get ready to dive into a story that's all about that. The remarkable journey of Helen Augusta Blanchard, a woman who revolutionized the way we sew and, in turn, so much more.
Hmm. Safe.
This is a story about a dramatic fall from wealth, a determined spirit, and a legacy that's stitched into every garment we wear today. So if you love uncovering those hidden threads of history and learning about the unsung heroes of innovation, make sure you hit that subscribe button to catch all our deep dives.
Okay, so let's set the stage. We're talking about the mid-1800s, the dawn of the sewing machine.
A time of fierce competition, eh?
Oh, absolutely. Inventors were battling it out, patents were flying left and right. It was a real wild west of innovation. But there was a catch.
Oh, what's that?
Early sewing machines could only do one thing, straight stitches.
Can you imagine the frustration? All those seamstresses, all those
Yeah.
intricate designs, and all they had was a straight stitch.
Right. Talk about limitations.
And that's where Helen Blanchard enters the scene. Now, she wasn't some engineering prodigy or a seasoned inventor.
No, not at all. In fact, she was born into a wealthy family in Maine, her father a successful shipbuilder.
The good life, huh?
Well, it was until her father's business went belly up, forcing her to find work, and she ended up in a sewing factory.
Wow. Talk about a change of pace. From high society to the factory floor.
Exactly. A real-life Cinderella story, but in reverse. And it was this unexpected twist of fate that led her to her aha moment.
I love those aha moments. Tell me more.
Well, the story goes, and it may be apocryphal, that she got so frustrated with the limitations of the sewing machine that she actually kicked it over in a fit of rage.
Okay, I can relate to that.
Right. And in that moment of frustration, she vowed to invent something better.
And she did. In 1873, she patented her first invention, a mechanism that enabled sewing machines to create a zigzag stitch.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you're thinking. A zigzag stitch, that doesn't sound all that groundbreaking.
But you have to remember, this was revolutionary at the time. Think about it. Before the zigzag stitch, all seams were straight, which meant they were prone to unraveling.
That makes sense.
Not to mention, it severely limited what you could do design-wise.
So how did the zigzag stitch change things?
Well, for starters, it made seams much stronger. It also opened up a whole new world of possibilities for decorative elements, things like embroidery, appliques, and get this, buttonholes.
Buttonholes. You mean those were all done by hand before?
Yep. Can you imagine the time and effort that saved?
It's mind-blowing when you think about how a seemingly small innovation like that could have such a huge impact. It's like she took a simple tool and turned it into an artist's palette.
Exactly. And this was just the beginning of her incredible journey as an inventor.
Oh, I bet. Now, you mentioned that she secured her first patent in 1873. But to do that, she needed money. Right. And as we discussed, she wasn't exactly rolling in it at that point.
Well, that's where the story gets even more interesting. To file for her patent, she had to borrow money from a friend.
Wow. Talk about taking a leap of faith, not only in her invention, but also in herself.
And that leap of faith paid off big time.
You know, I think that's what makes Helen Blanchard's story so inspiring. She didn't let setbacks define her. Instead, she turned them into fuel for her creativity and her determination.
And her story reminds us that innovation isn't always about having the most resources or the fanciest education.
Sometimes it's about seeing a need, having the guts to take a risk, and believing in yourself enough to make that vision a reality.
And as we delve deeper into Helen Blanchard's story, you'll see just how far those qualities can take you.
I'm ready to hear it all. But first, I need to catch my breath and grab a sip of water. We'll be right back with more on Helen Blanchard, the woman who zigzagged her way into history. All right, so we've learned about Helen Blanchard's early life and her groundbreaking zigzag stitch invention.
It was a game changer, no doubt, but her ingenuity didn't stop there.
Oh, I bet. 28 patents, remember? What else did she dream up?
Well, she was incredibly prolific, especially when it came to making clothing more, shall we say, user-friendly.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you mean by user-friendly?
Well, think about clothing back then. It was pretty stiff, not a lot of give.
Yeah, corsets and all that. Not exactly known for comfort.
Exactly. And that's where Helen Blanchard's inventions really made a difference. One of her most notable innovations was the use of rubber thread to create elastic seams.
Elastic seams. Wait, so before her invention, there were no stretchy clothes?
Not really. Can you imagine wearing jeans without any stretch?
Ouch. My knees hurt just thinking about it.
Right. So her invention of the elastic seam was a game changer, especially for women's clothing. It allowed for greater freedom of movement and a more comfortable fit.
It's amazing how something we take for granted today, like stretchy fabric, was once a revolutionary concept.
Absolutely. And her focus on comfort and practicality extended to other areas as well. Remember those stretchy panels you often see in boots and shoes?
Yeah, the gores.
Those were her invention, too. She figured out a way to incorporate elastic into footwear, making shoes more comfortable and durable.
It's like she was on a mission to make the world a more comfortable place, one stitch at a time.
She really was. And it wasn't just about physical comfort either.
What do you mean?
Well, her inventions also had a significant social impact.
Oh, right. I read something about her supporting women who were struggling due to industrialization.
That's right. She was deeply aware of the challenges faced by women working in factories, many of whom had been displaced from their homes and livelihoods.
So she used her wealth to help them.
Exactly. She was a strong advocate for women's rights and social justice. She donated generously to charities that provided aid and education to women in need.
It's inspiring to see someone who not only innovated technology, but also used their success to make a positive impact on society.
It really is. It speaks to her character, her compassion, and her understanding of the broader implications of her work.
You know, for someone who accomplished so much, it's surprising that there are still some mysteries surrounding her life.
Like what?
Well, for one, there's that curious incident with the unpaid storage bill.
Ah, yes. It seems that after her death, a storage unit containing some of her belongings was discovered, and the bill had gone unpaid.
Which seems odd, considering her wealth and reputation for financial savvy.
It does raise some questions. Was it a simple oversight? Did she fall on hard times later in life? We may never know for sure.
It's like a little crack in the otherwise polished facade of her success story.
And then there's the even bigger mystery of her missing fortune.
Right. No will was ever found, and her wealth seemingly vanished into thin air.
It's a real head-scratcher. Some believe she may have donated her fortune anonymously, while others suspect foul play.
I guess some secrets go to the grave.
They do. And it's those unanswered questions that make history so fascinating. It's not just about dates and facts, it's about piecing together the puzzle of human lives and motivations.
It's like a detective story, trying to unravel the clues and figure out what really happened.
And sometimes the most intriguing mysteries are the ones that remain unsolved. They leave us with a sense of wonder and a desire to keep exploring.
Absolutely. I'm hooked.
Yeah.
What else can you tell us about this fascinating woman?
Well, next, let's talk about her broader impact on the fashion industry and how her inventions continue to influence what we wear today.
You know, it's funny to think that her inventions were mainly intended for factories and mass production.
Yeah.
But they ended up having such a massive impact on the way we all dress today.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that ripple effect you were talking about earlier. You throw a pebble in the water and the waves just keep spreading out.
Totally. And in Helen's case, her work really helped to make clothing more affordable and accessible for everyone.
I mean, can you imagine a world without ready-made clothing?
It's crazy to think about, right?
It was a total revolution back then.
And it wasn't just about price either. Helen's inventions really pushed the boundaries of design and how clothes actually functioned. Like we were talking about, those stretchy seams.
Yeah.
They weren't just a comfort thing. They opened up a whole new world of styles and shapes that just weren't possible before.
You got it. It wasn't just about making things easier to sew. She was changing what clothes could be, workwear, everyday stuff, all more comfortable and stylish. Her fingerprints are all over what we wear today.
It's like I'm looking at my closet with a whole new perspective, a hidden history lesson in every seam.
Seriously, it's like innovation doesn't just create new technology. It changes how we live and work and how we experience the world.
And sometimes those changes are so subtle we don't even notice them. Like, take those welted seams on jeans, we just see them and move on. But that's Helen Blanchard right there.
Exactly. Her work is like woven into the fabric of our lives, literally.
It makes you think about all the hidden histories behind everyday things. I mean, who knew a simple zigzag stitch could change so much?
It all comes back to that keen eye, knowing how to solve a problem and never giving up on making things better.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Helen Augusta Blanchard, what's the big takeaway you hope our listeners remember?
I think it's that spark of innovation. It can come from anywhere, anyone. Helen wasn't an engineer. She was a woman who saw a problem and decided to fix it. Her story is like proof that one person can change the world.
I think you nailed it. And as we navigate this crazy world, let's hold on to Helen Blanchard's story that human ingenuity can shape a better future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring.